So now you have seen how to choose the right combination or the right amount of labor if there is only one input. Now obviously that is a very special situation, and most firms and businesses have, even in the short run, a lot more inputs that they can choose from. So what happens if there are more than one inputs? How does a firm or a business decide on the right combination between two inputs? So suppose in this particular case there are two inputs which are labor and office space, designated L and O respectively. Now you would notice that the earlier relationship that we got, that the price times marginal product is equal to the wage rate, would still hold. Except now the marginal product or the productivity of labor would depend upon the amount of office space available. It would also be the other way around. The productivity of office space would also depend upon the number of workers around. But in either case, this particular relationship, that the price into the times the marginal product of labor should be equal to the wage rate, would still hold. Similarly, there would be a similar relationship between the marginal product of office space and the price of office space. The price times the marginal product of office space should be equal to the price of the office space R. So now I can take these two relationships and I can rewrite them in this particular way. I can write them as the marginal product of labor divided by the wage rate is equal to the marginal product of office space divided by the price of office space. What does it mean? What it means is that now when you are trying to decide on the right combination of workers and office space, you would have to look at not only the productivity of the workers and the productivity of the office space, but also the prices. So for instance, if you are working or if you have a business, say in a very expensive city like Bombay, then you would obviously have more workers and less office space. On the other hand, if you are say in a city like Bangalore, where office space is relatively cheaper than say in Bombay, then what you would have is that we would have relative use more office space and fewer workers. So the combination of office space and labor depends on the productivity of both of these inputs and factors, and also on their relative prices. So if you are trying to maximize your profits, trying to produce the most output that you can with a certain combination of labor and office space, then you should choose these amounts such that the productivity per rupee of each input that you use should be equal. And this should hold, this relationship should hold for all inputs that you have. So in fact, if you have multiple inputs, 3 say, then similarly, just like before, the marginal product of the first input divided by the price of the first input should be equal to the marginal product of the second input divided by the price of the second input, should be equal to the marginal product of the third input divided by the price of the third input, and so on and on. So this might seem like something which is very difficult to achieve in practice, but nevertheless, if you are trying to reduce your costs or produce the most amount of output at a given cost. This relationship is what you should aspire to.